All right, I think you are on. Where is the microphone? There we go.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Holding On with Holder, where I talk to interesting people about interesting topics. My name is Steve Holder, and I am your host. My guest this evening is Tina Olexa, author, financial advisor, and CEO of Your Backup Plan. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you, Steve, for having me come on today.
Well, I'm glad to have you come on today. So, for those who don't know who you are, give us a little bit of background, if you would, please.
Sure. I'm in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, just above Seattle. I don't have a cool accent like you do, Steve. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. I always wanted one though, so yeah, I'll have to work on that. Um, I'm a podcaster as well, and I have a backup plan app. It's called Your Backup Plan, where it puts your life all in one place in preparation of any unpredictable circumstance and takes the painful aftermath out of a tragedy when it occurs. So I kind of always tell people that in emergencies, I guide you through those storms.
Okay. So, is your podcast all about your app? Is it all tied together?
The podcast is on multiple platforms, but it isn't really about my app. It is about real life stories every week with real life people, telling us about their tragedy. It could be cancer, it could be a car accident, a motorcycle accident. I had a guest on who was shot when he was delivering a hamburger, believe it or not, by the police. And I had a motorcycle accident. I've had cancer, heart, stroke victims, survivors, and cancer survivors, as well as Theo Fleury from the Blackhawks hockey team, talk about the trauma in his life growing up and then being raped multiple times by coaches. So they're very interesting stories, amazing actually, of how inspirational people can be when they've overcome some of these different tragedies and setbacks in their journey in their life.
Yeah. So, how did you get into podcasting?
Well, that's an interesting one. I guess I'll start with my why I created the app to start with was I'm a financial advisor. I've been doing insurance for over 17 years, life insurance and disability. And I felt that people weren't prepared for the unexpected, so to speak. And of course, that's true because we found out during COVID that we are, in fact, not prepared for anything. And you can see across the world how different each country um, found solutions to the problem. And some of them, like Israel right now, has all their vaccines and they're all done. Whereas some of the places like Canada, we are really in British Columbia alone in our own state or province, we are actually only at age 80 in our vaccines. So we have a long way to go. So as you can see, yeah, we're not prepared for the unexpected. We're not prepared for an earthquake. We're not prepared for floods, as you can see across the States and in Canada, across the world. So I had a girlfriend who had gotten cancer, lung cancer actually, and it was very difficult when I went to visit her because, as you know, if any listeners are out there, as well as you, Steve, if you know of anyone who's going through, example, lung cancer like she did, it's pretty scary and devastating to what condition they come out as. every time you go and see them. And I found that every time I went up in the elevator, I wanted to see her, bring her some nice, lovely tea instead of, the crappy hospital dishwater soap. And so I would go up in the elevator, but each time I really had to take a deep breath because the changes for that person, and you had to find the strength not to have it affect you every time you saw the person because they deteriorate so quickly. It seems like through chemo and radiation, it really gives them, knocks them for six, really. And so I was very, very frightened every time I went up in the elevator. Every time I'd see her deteriorate, it was very devastating for me. And one day we were sitting outside on the patio and she said, Tina, I just want to see the blue sky. I want to feel, the breeze on my face. I want to hear the birds sing. That's all I want. And I want to sit and be present with the person that's here at that moment to talk to you. And I really, that shocked me. That made me create my app because it was so heartwarming, and a realization came to me that you cannot be present with the person that's sick or dying if you're not present. If you're worried, in fact, of all the stuff, where's the, who's paying the mortgage, where's this account, where's the keys for this, where's the pet food for that, what kind of food does the cat have, where does the cat go to a vet, all of these things in our lives that only we know, the other people don't necessarily know, as well as your partner. So when something tragic happens to you, it's not the time to talk to them about, for example, your parents' example. It's not the time to say, Mom, where are your accounts? Where, do you have them? Is it just one account that you have at the bank, or do you have multiple? Where are your will? Where's your power of attorney? Where's your stuff? Where's your keys? Where's the key for the shed? Where's your shut-off valves? All of this stuff is not the time to really be present with the person that needs you. They need your love, they need your attention, and they don't want you to be stressed out with all the other stuff. And that's what made me create your backup plan app. And to this day, I've gone through a divorce and a tragic car accident myself. And I woke up one morning just in 2020, and a voice came to me and said, Tina, you are going to get this app out there. You are going to market it. You're going to do a podcast every week, invite people with their real stories, and you have all the tools to do this. You just go ahead and do it. And I looked up and I said, what? How am I going to do this? And I just jumped in with my 2 feet because it's almost, it's not you saying it, but it was a man's voice. And I'm not really sure today who that person was. I guess I should have asked. But it might have been someone from my family in the past that's passed away. It could be a guide or something to that effect, but it was like yourself telling you, because you didn't question it. You didn't, I just jumped in and I got my tools and equipment that I needed, and I just went head forth, moved into it, and I started that next week. And I've been doing it since. So it's gonna be coming up to a year that we have now built up the podcast. We have a YouTube channel, and I'll also put live stream interviews on there as well. So yeah, that's kind of a synopsis of where it's taken me so far.
Okay. So what advice would you give to somebody that wants to start a podcast?
I think they should probably, it would make it a lot easier if you knew, really, first off, if you knew who you wanted, have a target market of who you're speaking to, who you want your listeners to be, and who you want your guests to be as well. So you really have to figure that part out first. And then that way you can move forward, invite the guests, find the guests, and as well as with, and then of course, looking to figure out what equipment you need to do it properly.
So do you have a favorite podcast other than yours, of course?
I like comedy, so I like watching a lot of those. I like the conversations like yourself. A few people are doing on like one word conversations or conversations with different people, because it's not every single guest that you have that your listeners are going to get attracted to.
Right.
So it's nice to have a bit of variation.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy talking to all kinds of different people. It's kind of my
From
hobby these days.
from all over the world.
Yeah, yeah. So your backup plan, the app, now do you sell that? Is there a cost to that?
It's $4.99, and it's on Google Play and it's on iTunes. It's for your tablet or your phone. So, for example, it makes it easy if you have your phone and you go to the doctor, and before you go into the doctor, you sit down with your phone and you punch it in, and you just take your phone, put in, why am I here at the doctor and who am I seeing? It comes up in your screen. And then when you come out of the doctor's office, you can take a quick picture with your phone of your prescription, so that all of your medical then is going to be logged, and it's in sequential order, so that, how many of us forget, when did we have our last surgery?
Yeah,
When was that? Was it 2010? Or, that's what happens. We can't remember what prescriptions we had. We can't remember what surgeries we've had. So that's also a really cool part of the app, where it really looks after everything, to the point where, house insurance is in there. I'm in the midst. I was hoping to have it done for March 1st, but it's bigger. It's always bigger and better than I expected. So the emerging blueprint is part of your backup plan, and you could buy the app off of Google or iTunes and just complete it the way you wish to. Or as well, you can go on the emerging blueprint, which will be available soon. And it's 12 modules, which will guide you through getting prepared. So the first module, and you can do as many modules as you wish. It's your platform to use. It has a library of videos, a library of interviews, of how to 20-minute videos, 10-minute videos, so that you can really understand, well, what does my life insurance look like? How do I read it? When is it over? Those are all pertinent questions that you want to know when you buy insurance, house insurance. The app will have the ability to notify you 2 months before your house insurance comes up for renewal, and it will ask you if you want to renew it. Example, life insurance, it will tell you, once you plug all of that information in, it will help you, remind you what's coming up. Your car insurance is coming up for renewal. Your house insurance is coming up. Do you have a will? Do you wish to, take a picture of it so that your guest user will know where it's at? All of these types of things that a lot of times we think we're covered, even as husband and wife or partners, but we're actually, only one person has that brain, and that person has that brain, and no one ever really knows what the other one does. One pays the bills, the other one doesn't. And so when something does occur, it really puts a wrench into your plans. And this is to help you save money. It's there to help you save money in planning so that you don't have to spend more money on lawyers. Um, it helps you perhaps look at a few of the things that you didn't think that you had to look at, because we're really unaware of what is actually needed at that time unless we've gone through it ourselves with a family member or being an executor, so to speak, for someone else's wills, for example. So we also do quite a bit on wills in the module as well. And information about, house insurance isn't, no one keeps their receipts. So we want photos. So it enables you to take photos around the house, because I don't think there's many people out there that if something happened to their house, they could remember what was in that room or what was in your wallet, so to speak. If you had your wallet or your purse stolen, what was in there? That's always the best question, because no one ever is able to answer that.
Yeah. So did you say you sell life insurance also?
I do personally. That's the other part of what I've been doing for many, many years. So, but in the program itself and the app, it will just notify you. It's there to help educate you and help you understand, what do I have? You know, everybody, my clients always pulled out, had this policy, have this policy, have this policy, have this policy, and they don't even know what they have. They
Yeah,
have no idea. So in a lot of these videos, that when you play them, I'll say, take your policy out, and this is what you want to look for in your policy. And if you don't find it on there, then that's time for you to get a copy of it and then play the video again to get better idea of, what is it? What do I have? What am I covered for? What am I not covered for? When does it expire? When does it have to renew? All of these types of things, so that you can become more aware of yourself, of your, we're investing ourselves now. Sometimes we're buying insurance ourselves now, but help you understand, what is it that you have.
yeah,
And that's really what I want to help embrace, you finding the education. And I really appreciate you, Steve, for talking about this, because I always find men aren't really interested in being prepared as women are usually. Because men, the first thing, I should probably let you answer this question, but um, most men will say, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm Superman. So it's the man thinking, even when they get older, it's still, nothing's going to happen. But we all know something will.
yeah.
Something will. And our journeys are made up of sometimes many different life experiences that we didn't expect.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like you're dealing with the end of life uh, planning. Are you also connected to a funeral home in any way? I mean, it seems like you're kind of in the same, it could be tied in.
Yes, all of those things, house insurance, for example. I've had lots of people, I've been in 5-minute evacuation notice. So that's really super important, especially on the Pacific West Coast side, all the way from California up to British Columbia. We have major wildfires, as well as Portland, Oregon, and Australia's super bad in those areas as well. Whereas in your area, you're more of hurricanes and tornadoes and all of that kind of stuff. But when you do not have time to run around the house in 5 minutes and figure out, what do I need to get out? And it's definitely not going to be your documents. It's definitely not going to be that. It's going to be, what jacket do I need? what clothes do I need to grab some water or food and a flashlight, and you go out the door. But in your backup plan, I help you guide you through the process of an emergency kit. And where's your water and hot water shutoff valves? Where's your gas line shutoff valves? Where are all these things for whether you're a male or a female that we need to know in case of emergencies? And so it's creating your own emergency kit, creating your own insurance, understanding your insurance, understanding where your investments are. Most people don't have one bank account anymore. They have multiple, perhaps even at multiple institutions. And that is screaming difficulty when it comes to your family, because your family doesn't know where you bank. So if something happened to you and your partner, for example, who's going to know where you bank unless you have statements in the filing cabinet or in your drawer? For example, Steve, where do you keep your paperwork? Do you have it in drawers, in the closet, in the filing cabinet? I've even had a client in the garbage can. That's where they found his will, was in the top of the garbage can.
Interesting. So I know you're an author also. So do you want to tell us about your book or books?
So after my car accident, I wrote called In the Blink of an Eye. And it's, really, I don't have to say anymore, because your life changes in the blink of an eye. And I talk about people being prepared for the unexpected all the time, whether it's end of life. It could be just, being prepared for a wildfire, or being prepared and knowing where your documents are, being prepared in case you get sick with COVID. I mean, this time, 2020 and 2021, is the perfect time for people to understand that we need to be better prepared, because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. We don't know. And I say that all the time in my podcast. If there's any listeners out there and you haven't spoken to someone that you're thinking about right now, pick up the phone and call them, because you don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Yeah.
So
Now, you're a financial advisor also, correct?
yeah.
So is that in your app also about how to deal with finances?
Yes. So there's where your accounts are. That's one of the biggest in UK, Australia, Canada, and United States, is unclaimed money. Unclaimed money is, there's actually a website that you can look up someone who's passed away to see if they have any other accounts that show up. But if you want to not have that problem after the fact, it's a good time to have them listed somewhere, because your family do not know if you have multiple accounts. We don't get mail anymore. So digital has become even harder for your family to find out where your investments are, where your bank accounts are, and to help you understand that, and put it into your files, and create a file, whether it's one that you can touch and see, or one that's digital. Either way works. But in the modules, there's 12 modules. Each of them talk about different topics. So you can do all of them or one of them. It doesn't really matter, but you're going to learn something from every single one. The 12th module is the most fun, because it's called the treasure box. And so what I wanted to help people think about is, what kind of legacy do you want to leave your family? I went to a funeral, and he was in his 50s, and he died of a heart attack. And his two daughters were in the front pews. And I was sitting at the back thinking, they're going to remember their dad, but their kids won't know who he is. and their kids won't know who he is, and their kids won't know who he was. So what can I do to help people stay close to those that they loved? And I made the treasure box. And so I help you create whatever it is that touches your heart, and to keep it in the forefront, whether it's every year that you do a video, or write music, or play music, or sing a song, or share recipes, or put together photos, whatever that looks like. Crochet, knit, it doesn't matter. Right to the point of, what do you see? What can you feel? What can you touch? What can you hear? And smell. So you want to have all those senses, because when that person goes, there's nothing better than finding that shirt hanging in the closet with their smell, because you just hold it. It's like a pillow. And when you're feeling sad that day, that's what you go to. So I wanted to leave a legacy of, everybody has something that they're super good at, whether it's cooking, or their recipes, or their poems they write, or how did their handwriting look. Um, some people have blogs that they would like to pass down to the next generation to continue, perhaps. So those are all kinds of things that you can think about, and then start encompassing that throughout your, whether it's a special event, or every month you just make a choice to do it, or if it's every year, it doesn't really matter. It's up to you. But it's starting to think about, what is it that you want to leave behind for your special people.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's change gears a little bit. What was your childhood like?
Well, I'm an Army brat, so I did my dad did 30 years. I did my 30 years in the military too. That's what I say. So I spent my last graduation years in Germany. We were on an Army base in Germany, and then they got posted, returned back to Canada, and I returned back. I had a job on the base as a civilian, working as a computer manager, right from out of high school, actually. So then I came back to Canada, got married. I had 2 kids, and I worked in many different fields. I have my Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer course. So that brought me, and then I went into finances. So that brought me to your backup plan, because obviously I had all of the different tools to create this project. And it's just it's come to very exciting, and I'm very passionate about it, because it changes all the time. We're doing major reconstruction of the app all the time, whether it's updates or changes. Family law changes in every state and every country all the time.
Yeah,
And so my goal is to perhaps go around the world eventually, and go to different countries and see what do people do in that country to get prepared.
yeah,
What does it look like in Thailand? What does it look like in the UK? What does it look like in Australia? What does that look like in Iceland? So it can really give us a better idea of what we're doing here, and then what are they doing there.
yeah. You remind me of something I learned in Boy Scouts. Our motto was be prepared. That's what you're all about, isn't it? Be prepared.
Yeah, because we have to be prepared, but we're really not. In the Little House on the Prairie times, you know, which I guess would not be necessarily our parents, but it would have been their grandparents' era. And they took their important documents and they rolled them up in paper bags and twisted them and shoved them in the attic or in the basement in the rafters. And that's where everyone knew where the special documents were. but I bet you could go to 10 different homes and you'd never find any documents. Nobody knows where anything is. We just stick it there and we stick it there, and that's usually the way, and I want to fix that.
Yeah. Well, great. It's been nice talking to you. Want to tell everybody how they can buy
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'll send you, yeah, you can put it in the description box below my links. But YouTube is your backup plan. Instagram and Facebook is your backup plan. LinkedIn is your backup plan, as well as what else is left? Google and iTunes has the app, and the Emerging Blueprint, which is the membership program, will be available as soon as I complete it. But the website is there now. It's just not activated yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. I encourage folks to check that out. And it's especially, I suppose, geared towards senior citizens, obviously. So, yeah, folks, check it out. And Tina, thank you for being with me tonight and telling us about your backup plan. I appreciate your time. And all you people that's joining in, thanks for joining in to Holding On with Holder. Please subscribe to my channel. Feel free to share this video all over social media and tell everybody about Tina's Your Backup Plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tina, and I appreciate you. You have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.